Yep, sounds good.
Okay. Hey everybody, I'm Kenny Jahng, the president of this year's Pingry School Parents Association. It is a bright and sunny day in April. We are sitting here in conversation. I have the fortunate opportunity to sit down with Luke D., one of our esteemed faculty members in the biology department, today in conversation. Hey Luke, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you, Kenny?
Luke, there's a lot of people who know you and love you in the hallways, but there's a bunch of people here in the audience today, our parents, our parent community, that probably don't know you or aren't as familiar with you. First of all, you got one of the funnest titles that I think the faculty and staff here have at Pingry. I think you're known as the mentor to independent molecular biology projects. I just love that title.
Yeah, I'm not sure they knew what to name me, so I think they just made something up.
I love it. So why don't you explain a little bit about what you're doing here in the upper school and a little bit about the department that you're sitting in.
Okay, so first of all, I do teach 2 classes. That is part of my role, but I have a much larger role outside of that. We tried a long time ago to bring research to Pingry, and what we've been doing over the last several years is been developing ways in which students can get involved in that research. Specifically, we've been wanting to get students involved at any level of expertise and students with any level of time to be able to get involved with research. So
you're trying to be practical because a lot of our students are very busy.
Exactly.
Some want to go deep dive into science, right?
Right. And some students only have a half an hour a week. You know, they have lacrosse after school, they have all these extra commitments, but they really enjoy science and they want something other than what they're getting from the textbook.
Nice, nice. So I love the fact that you're contextualizing the program for the student. This is something that we always talk about here at Pingry, the excellence in how we respond to the needs of the student here. So tell me about this actual research project. Some of the things that you're doing is innovative and actually mind-blowing to me that we've talked about earlier. The things that you're doing even outside of the normal track of curriculum, this research program is pretty innovative. Let's first talk about who in particular should be listening to this program right now.
I think this program is specifically for 8th, 9th, and 10th grade parents of children who are interested in science, specifically kids that may not be great at book science and may be really good with their hands or really have an interest in science but not loving exactly the classroom aspect of it.
Nice, nice. So that's a broad range of kids as well.
It is.
And then, just to be very practical, this week you are hosting a program for parents that want to learn more outside of this little video interview that we're doing right now.
Absolutely. We're going to have every single teacher that runs an aspect of the research program at the meeting tomorrow, Tuesday at 6 p.m. And you're going to be able to, as a parent, interact with them and ask any question that you need to ask to help navigate through this really crazy research program that we've developed.
Nice. So how many faculty is actually going to be available tomorrow night at Tuesday?
We're going to have Mr. Maxwell, myself, Dr. DeCilio, Mr. Jenkins, and Mr. Burkhart there, each representing a different program or team in the program.
Wow, the whole gang. I love it. So I love the fact, thank you so much for making the time out of your busy schedule outside of the regular school day to be available for the parents. For me, especially from the PSPA, it's exciting to see when our faculty and staff are that engaged and that invested in our students that you're willing to sacrifice your personal time to come and actually be available as a resource. So thank you so much.
Yeah, it's going to be cool.
Okay, so first of all, okay, so this event, Tuesday evening, it's going to be 6 o'clock in Basking Ridge. What are the parents going to walk away with? What's the ideal situation?
The ideal situation is that a parent walks in, sees something that they know will fit with their kid. Oh, my kid loves cancer. My kid loves building robots. My kid would be really good at this. They talk to a teacher that is leading one of those teams and find out exactly what steps they need to take to get their student involved in that program.
Okay, great. And you've got, how many kids are in the actual research program right now?
So we have upwards of 100 kids that are involved in the research program. I got to be honest, though, the majority of those kids are coming to something that we call Journal Club on Thursday morning. So that's, you know, between 60 and 80 kids who are showing up before school to listen to science. That's kind of our lowest tier of involvement right now, and like I said, it goes up from there.
Gotcha. And then let's talk about some of the more interesting or really esoteric stuff. Some some amazing stuff has come out of this program recently. Do you have any examples of let's inspire the imagination of the parents that are listening today? Some of the things that the students really are capable of producing.
Yeah, like I said, our kids are awesome. So they really do produce amazing things. It's if you give them tools to do things as when they're young, they're really coming out like, well, let me just give you a couple examples. We have a group collaborating with MIT, and what they've basically done is taken data from patients who have received stents. So when you have a heart attack, sometimes they put a little tube that helps hold in your artery, helps hold it open. They've gone through MRI data produced by MIT, sliced each of those images, and then recreated the artery and the stent within it in a computer model. They're testing that model right now to see how shear forces might influence damage to the artery so that they can predict, using this computer model, when a person might relapse or might have a further heart complication because of the placement of a stent.
Wow, that's pretty practical. I love the fact that when you shared recently at a PSP meeting some of the vision and for what you're trying to do with these kids, is that you're not just trying to do things that are completely non-practical, but that you're using real life situations and circumstances, subject matter, to really inspire these kids and then let them work collaboratively for some real solutions. So it's not pie in the sky. They actually have some significance and fulfillment in the actual work that they do. What are there other interesting things that have come out recently?
Yeah, so we have a group that's focused on the role of anxiety and addiction. We have two groups that are working on novel cancer therapies. We had 2 Siemens and an Intel win come out of that recently.
Wow.
Back to what you were talking about, the larger picture is that we're not really teachers teaching a subject here. What we're doing in this aspect of research is, there's just really, really big problems out there. Problems like cancer, like obesity, like poverty. And what we're doing is giving students a real crack at these problems here.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned that this isn't necessarily your average high school level discourse, right?
No, certainly not. I think that when kids go to college coming out of this program, they're a little amazed at how advanced they are. I think this is the type of thing that you would typically see after the undergraduate level in college.
Gotcha. And not only that, you're also, I think, using different pedagogy, right? Changing the model of how you're engaging with the students?
Could you be a little more specific?
Well, one of the things that I'm hearing from parents and other students that actually have gone through your program or currently, it's not your traditional way of learning science, that you are engaging in a very different way.
Right. So what we've basically done is taken what we think are the 3 most important skills in science: presentation, research, and actual hands work, and we've designed teams or groups that focus on each of those specifically. So what that looks like for a student, for example, a student on the research team, they don't ever know what they're going to be doing beyond 1 week. They work on an experiment, they get that result, they set their goals for the following week and do that continuously over the course of years. So it's not just a semester of engagement. It's not just, a class. It's a project that a student is highly invested in, right? This is their program. This is their project. It is their ideas that they're trying to prove. Yeah, the disease was given to them, so it might be cancer that was given to them in the beginning, but this is their approach to it. This is their attack on that disease.
Nice. And then just the logistics of the program. Is this in classroom time? Is it CP time? Is this extracurricular? How does that work?
Again, what we've tried to do is develop parts of this that appeal to every student. So we have curricular aspects. We have things like the research class, AP Comp Sci. We have things that meet once a week, like Journal Club, that's at 7:30 on Thursdays. And then we have things that meet before school, during lunch, and after school, like the research team or robotics that work whenever these kids can free their time up. Believe it or not, we actually had an instance where we had a student skipping a class so they could run experiments. So we have some pretty dedicated kids here.
That's awesome to hear. I love that story. Okay, so let's get practical. We've got an event Tuesday evening, and you're actually, I believe there's an RSVP option, just to give you a heads up.
Yeah, you can RSVP at liquidbio.com. That just gives me an idea of how many people are coming and some of the questions that they want to know.
Okay, so www.liquidbio.com.
That's correct.
RSVP. And then you have another event coming at the end of April. Can you just share with us about that?
Yeah, this is actually my favorite thing about being here at Pingry, this event, because you hear me talking and it sounds all like it's really interesting. It sounds really innovative. And you know, this is me talking, but on April 25th, all the students that do all the aspects of research will be presenting exactly what they do. Now, I urge you to take the level of what you're hearing right now and set that aside, because what you'll see them do far exceeds anything that I can describe.
Nice.
They're amazing.
And so all the kids get really a chance to present their work to the community, to each other that night.
That's correct. It's very different than a regular science fair. You'll be able to come in and you will, I assure you, you will learn some things. You'll be able to interact with the exhibit, so you'll actually be able to put in one of those stents into a heart if you'd like to.
Wow.
You can play with the brain. You can get to use some of the really, really top-notch equipment that we get to use here. Play with DNA, cut it apart, run it through some stuff. It's cool.
Okay, awesome. And then just last question about the 25th event. I'm sure more information is going to come your way, parents that are listening here. But is it just for the kids in the program, or is it appropriate for other other students and families to come to that April 25th event?
I think it's appropriate for anybody that wants to see what's really being done about the big problems in the world. It goes far beyond the parents of the students involved in research. This is really aimed at, like I said, taking a stab at some of those big problems. If you want to see what really is being done about cancer research, come on in. Come see. If you really want to learn what the problem with obesity is, salmonella, cholera, all these things that we're working on, if you just want to learn, you want to interact, come on in and you'll see it.
Awesome. Okay, so just to recap, we got something tomorrow, April the 7th, 6 o'clock on Basking Ridge campus, right?
That's correct.
Where exactly is it?
It's going to be in the faculty room.
Okay, so on Basking Ridge. And then April 25th, again on Basking Ridge, we'll get more information about that event as well. And then lastly, if parents can't make any of those events, I know that you're available. What's the best way that people can get in touch with you?
The best way to get in touch with me is through my email, lde@pingry.org. And depending on what you're interested in, I can either answer your question or get you to the person that can answer your question.
Great. And then last one, of course, we always want the student advocating for themselves. You're open. Our parents should be getting their kids to actually reach out to you as well, right?
Yes. As far as students go, I think the best thing for them to see is the 7:30 Journal Club. When you have 60 to 80 kids coming to school before school starts for no credit to discuss science, those are the kids you want your student involved with. Those are the kids you want them to talk to, and they're going to be able to give them much better advice than I will.
Cool. Great, great. Well, thank you so much. I know you're really busy. Appreciate it. I know you're prepping for the Tuesday night event for the parents. Appreciate everything that you're doing for our community and spending time here today with us. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Kenny, for giving me this opportunity. I appreciate it.
Okay, there you have it. Tuesday, 6 o'clock on campus, and then we'll get the word out again for April 25th. It is a fantastic program. Luke D is just an amazing faculty member, really invested in our kids, and so is the other folks in the department. Once you get to meet them, I think it's one of those places where you feel like, wow, this is why we're at Pingry, and the excellence just really shines through. So I appreciate the time that Luke has been with us today, and I hope that you as parents really check it out and spend some time learning more about our research program here at Pingry. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on campus soon.